Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 311 Griffin YouTube channel. I'm Max, and we're talking about another of the Red Dead Online guns, or the Red Dead guns. Let's switch over to it real quick. There we go. This is the Carbine Repeater, which is the first long gun you get. And this is actually, it's an interesting gun. It was well ahead of its time. It was designed in 1860. They produced it from like 1860 to 1869, I think, like that. Made quite a few of them. And at the time, there weren't repeaters, so everything was pretty much muzzleloader. And they may have had a few breech-loaded firearms that were basically single cartridge. But yeah, in 1860, this was state of the art. And basically what it does is, I'll fire it here a few times until we get the reload animation. You see he put that tube in the buttstock. So what it has is it's got a tube in the buttstock. There's a cylinder with a spring in it. You unlock that, pull it out, put the 7 cartridges in, which could be loaded with a tube that came out of a box, I think, if I remember correctly. And then you would push the cylinder that has the spring in it back into the buttstock and lock it in place. And apparently I ride around with my booger hook on the trigger, which isn't great. But anyway, you would put it in half cock, work the lever. That would insert the first round in the chamber. Then you would put the hammer on full cock and then fire it. And then the next time you would put it on half cock again after you fired it, work the lever again. That would eject the spent shell, out of the top there, basically where you see it, very briefly where you see it eject, and put the new one in, put it on full cock again, and then fire again. So let me see if I can just shoot. Yeah, he always points to where I'm going. I don't quite know if there's a way to show him shooting from the side. Doesn't seem like I can. But there you get to see the animation a little bit. So anyway, again, very much ahead of its time. These cost about twice as much as the the Springfield 1861. That was about $20 per gun, I think, and these were about $40. So the military didn't really want to purchase them because of the cost, and because they were going to have to ship a lot more ammunition to the front lines, because this thing could shoot a lot faster. So instead of 2 to 3 times a minute, it could shoot more like 20 times a minute, which is actually pretty devastating in in battle, in combat. But because of the cost and the logistics, they didn't really adopt them widespread. These were used in the Civil War, in the Battle of Gettysburg, and a handful of other battles. There were some cavalry units that used them, and it actually makes a lot of sense for cavalry units to use them because they're so much more easier to reload, and they're shorter, or at least this version was. This is probably a 20 or a 22-inch barrel. They had a longer version that had the foregrip, or the fore-end stock, extended quite a bit further. So they had a couple versions of it, but yeah, these were used in the Civil War, just not widespread, and they were used to good effect because the cartridges were easy to store. They lasted a long time. The gun itself was reliable. It was powerful enough to do what it needed to do, and they were fairly accurate and obviously easy to use. So I believe in fiction, in other works of fiction, Louis L'Amour has a book, I believe, if I remember correctly, that's kind of centered around this particular rifle. And then it's in a handful of movies. Christian Bale's character in 3:10 to Yuma carries one of these. There's some in the Clint Eastwood movie Unforgiven. I think there's some in Cowboys vs. Aliens, and obviously some other westerns and things like that. So if you wanted to check one out in a movie, those are some that you could look for. And that's about it. Since I don't actually have one of these to show, or a replica, or even anything close, this video is a little bit shorter, which is probably good. I wish I did have one to show you guys exactly how it loaded and unloaded and all that, but you can check out YouTube videos about it as well. So no worries there. Hopefully this just gives you an idea of how the gun was in real life and how the in-game gun is similar. And I think they did a pretty good job with it, and it's a pretty interesting firearm. So with that, I will sign off. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and take care. We'll do this stupid wave again. See you guys.